don't care what society thinks. They're nothing anyway. They're no better than me.
Until we hear the safe word, we will not stop.
Have you ever thought what it would be like to see a person's head amputated? Think of things so horrible that the human mind cannot imagine them. See all this and more when you see on stage, in person, that crazy mix-up.
I like being set apart from people. I like to be hated.
Safe Word with Jason Rouse.
Test. Hey, this is Jason Rouse, and welcome to the Safe Word podcast on a Saturday afternoon here, not far from the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in my home next to a Kiss pinball machine and BMX bikes. It looks like I killed some frat kids and I've taken over their home. But my guest on the show, Mike Ward, and correct me if I'm wrong, was our first time we met, was it in New York or was it in Canada?
I think it was like I've known who you are for years, but I think the first time we actually talked was in New York.
Yeah. Sometimes there's there's a very kind of small touring Canadian comedy circuit.
Yeah.
Not to mention if you're French, that's even small.
Yeah.
Smaller, I'm sure. How many major cities were your biggest draws in Canada?
Canada is like mostly just Quebec, so it'll be Quebec City is actually the best city for me doing comedy.
Yeah.
I can sell out like my there's a theater there. It's a 1,200 seater. I can sell out like 12 nights.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't it nice that you have there's a loyal, thick fan base, at least somewhere in the world?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at least
you can always go back there and be safe.
Yeah, redeem yourself, and they give you, okay, I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
There's a lot of naysayers and people out there that are kind of pull you away from your ideas and to come to a place. My place, oddly enough, is like Copenhagen, Denmark, and places like Iceland and Norway and things like that. For some reason, I don't know, it's my Canadian sensibilities or my vile behavior, but they really grabbed a hold of it. But doing comedy outside of the country must be strange, when you've got those kind of fan bases and stuff in Canada. Yeah,
I really like that, though. And it's amazing for the ego, like doing a 1,200 seater, and then the next day or the next week doing like an open mic night in Berlin.
Yeah.
With like 7 people, and all of the comics started doing comedy like in the last month.
It's insane, right? It's insane.
I really like those rooms, though. I generally prefer rooms that when you look at them at first, you're like, this place is going to be horrible for comedy, but finding a way to make that shitty room work is fun for me.
Totally, and I think those people come in with almost no expectations. You really come in at a really, even though you might not be well known, or you have a very level playing ground to start with.
Yeah.
You're from somewhere else. What is this guy all about? It's very, and the comedians too also see what's current and what's happening in the kind of traditional sense of stand-up comedy.
The thing I really like doing is if I'll do a show in a country that they're like, language isn't English, I'll go see like a local show. Like I was in China last year, and I went to see a Mandarin open mic night, and it was amazing because like the crowds I was getting were all expats, so it was the same as playing in Montreal or playing in Buffalo or whatever.
Yes, Hong Kong was like that.
But
there's nothing fresh here for me. I know these assholes.
But then when I went to see the Mandarin show, like the crowd, they don't know stand-up, so they wouldn't laugh out loud. So you'd have just these women like putting their hand up, like it almost felt like a parody of how Chinese people are.
Sure.
So they were going like giggling at jokes.
It's like a vulnerability they're not used to.
Yeah.
They're not used to being put in a position where they're exposed, and laughter totally sheds all that ego and stuff. And then they check themselves.
Yeah, and they're very polite. Like it almost looked, when you'd look at their face, that they felt that their laughter was somehow bothering the performer. So they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ruin your comedy show with laughter."
And I dig the it's the opposite of America. No one has any respect for any environment around them or nearby. It's a fuck you, get out of the way. And you go to some countries where, they have a culture that is I remember riding the subway in Sweden. It's packed. Quiet.
Oh, really?
No one talking. No one making eye contact. Everyone's just kind of sitting in transit. And then you go on to we'll call it a night bus in London, 3 a.m. on a Saturday. And it is the cuckoo's nest on wheels. It's a full-on meltdown of mental illness. And you have to laugh, you know what I mean? It's just, you've kind of just shown up in these situations. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. What we were talking about, Jesus and how he's changed my life. So we meet in New York.
Yeah.
We were doing a show at the Creek in the Cave, I think. And I remember, I don't know if I introduced myself to you then or not, but I remember I think I was living in Los Angeles when your case, your pain in the ass started to kind of circulate. And I'm like, okay, this is clearly going to dissipate.
Yeah.
And it won't be in the press in a month.
At first when it happened, I really thought it was funny. I was like, this is so funny. This will be a good bit in like 2 years. Mm. And then but then the more it went on, the realer it got. And when I hired my lawyer, for people who don't know, I got sued by the Human Rights Commission of Quebec because of a joke I made about a little French boy. He was a famous singer from Quebec.
Oh, I didn't know he had a history in show business.
Yeah, because I didn't even, like in the media, they made it sound like, and I look like a dick in the media because it's a little disabled boy. And I go on, like, the joke, the basic joke was that he was kind of like a Make-A-Wish type kid.
Met the Pope.
Yeah, he met the Pope.
He met the Pope.
Sang for the Pope. That was his dream.
The Pope.
Yeah, that was his dream, which is that's a bad dream. And Jimmy Carr gave me a really good joke. He was like, well, since he's deaf, I guess he hadn't heard what the Vatican does to little boys.
See, Carr is an assassin.
Yeah.
I love that. But so
yeah, so and when I talked about the kid, so the basic joke was he became famous for like singing for the Pope, and that was his sort of dying wish. But he doesn't have an illness that you die from. So he sang for the Pope. He sang for.
Was he famous at that time when he met the Pope?
That's what made him famous.
Okay.
Actually, he became famous because he sang for the national anthem at a Montreal Canadiens game, which it doesn't feel like it'd make you famous, but for some weird reason, that's all you need in Montreal to be famous.
Considering his physical position, was he? Can he sing?
No, he's not he's improved now, but when he was little, he was a pretty bad singer.
Yeah.
But, he's a cute little kid, 6 years old or whatever, singing.
Very sweet.
So front page of the paper, and then he sang for the Pope, and then he went down to Vegas and sang with Celine Dion, and then came out with an album, came out with a book, and the joke was just it was like, why isn't he dead yet? Like, we gave him his wish, he's supposed to die, and then a stupid rant about how he's unkillable, and I tried to murder him and drown him, and blah, 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 and then the last tag was that I found out what his illness was. He was just ugly. That's a basic joke. And then, I get a call, or my manager gets a call, and they're like, you can't do that joke anymore. But I wasn't doing that joke anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, so he was like, yeah.
You had done this on television like 7 years earlier or
something?
Yeah,
I did it.
Was it recorded on anything?
It was recorded on my sort of special.
Okay, so it was in public view for many years.
Yeah. And then never heard about it, and then got the call, and then, but I was like, I can't do anything about it now. And but with the thing, they wanted at first $80,000, and I was like, okay, this is crazy.
So this is your lawyers telling you, say, look, you're going to have to pay them $80,000.
Yeah.
Was it up for debate at all, or
no.
Why am I paying $80,000? He says you have to pay this just to keep your.
At first, when they explained the whole thing, it was for causing mental,
distress
or whatever. And
Yeah, it's called being a pussy.
Yeah, They wanted me to give $40,000 to the kid's mother, 20 to the stepdad, and 20 to the kid at first.
And if you were to say no, would you have to do? Was there an option to do jail time?
No, and actually, when I got the thing, it wasn't.
Because you go to jail for a year, you get jacked.
Yeah.
You get fucking. You come out and you just start punching nuns day one.
But at first, like, it wasn't even, we're bringing you to court for this reason. They were like, they wrote, we did an investigation about your joke, and you owe $80,000.
Well, I like to see the calipers and instruments that they use to measure the material.
The pain of a joke. Yeah. And so when I got that letter, I was... my manager was really stressed out, but I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
That's what I said as soon as I saw it.
And so I Googled who was the best free speech lawyer in Canada, and it's a guy from Montreal. So I called him, met him, and he was like, look, they wrote 80,000 because 80,000 is a big enough number that it'll scare you. But it's small enough so that you'll try to bargain your way out of it. Like if they said you owe $5 million, I would have just went, fuck you. Yeah. I don't have $5 million. But 80,000.
They looked at your net worth.
Yeah.
They figured out your income.
And they
go, how much can we fucking soak this guy for?
I actually even had to send them income tax reports for the last couple of years. But so my lawyer was like, look, they asked for 80 because they want to settle anywhere between 20 and 40. So I was like, I'd rather give you 100,000 than give them 5 because it was just like you can't start paying for jokes. Like,
no, it's a shakedown.
Yeah.
It's like mob.
Yeah.
I have a little theory. I have a theory. The kid, he's born disabled. He finds out that there's some sort of thing that brings him joy, this singing thing. They decide to improve the kid's quality of life and start putting him into various situations where he's singing national anthems, he's got a limited amount of time, and he got a taste of celebrity.
Yeah.
And in the book and whatever, the interviews, and then as that started to dissipate, they realized that the mother was just ashamed of the kid the whole time. And the fact that he's not famous anymore, she can't beat him or drown him. So they have to take it out on you. And I figured, I had a vision in my head today. I was thinking of you planting comedy flowers and the neighbor coming over with a broom and hitting you on the back of the head. That's what's kind of happened. It's like, I've been planting flowers the whole time. Why are you coming into my yard? I'm not a malicious, mean person. This falls... Everything I discuss funnels under the umbrella of stand-up comedy, and you cannot take anything and own it. Yeah. Because it's not yours to own. Either you thought it was funny or move on with your fucking life.
It's almost like suing like Vin Diesel or giving Vin Diesel a ticket because he drove too fast in Fast and the Furious. It's like taking shit, like comedy. Comedy's supposed to be comedy.
This is Lenny Bruce shit.
Yeah.
Right?
But at least I didn't have cops. Like Lenny Bruce actually went to jail.
I've had the cops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll get to that a little later.
Shit.
I want you to finish out your story because I like I said, when I came down the social media thing, I just looked at some of the headings and wasn't really investing in too much what hearsay was and stuff like that. And I knew I'd run into you sooner or later. I think we're going to meet up with Tom Green tonight. And the three of us should get a picture together because I think it's official that we're probably the 3 most infamous comedians that ever come out of the country.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
For all very different reasons of success and accomplishments. We couldn't believe 3 more different performers or approach to it. And you speak in a completely different language in your element. But so the lawyer comes up with the...
So the lawyer told me, he was like... so I told him I'd rather pay you than give them anything. Mm. And then my lawyer...
Good for you. And why would your lawyer even... did he... He just said this was it? There was no argument on his end? Or like, can we to say fuck you?
Yeah, he was like, you have two choices. You can make an offer or just fuck you. And he wrote this big long letter that was basically just fuck you. And he was like, like full of sarcasm. And he was like, congratulations, finally you're going after Mike Ward for doing a joke about a disabled kid. You should also go at, once we're done ruining Mike Ward's career, you should go after Shakespeare. And then he mentioned a bunch of Shakespeare references that had people, disabled people. So
She thinks she's broken new ground by attacking the jester.
yeah.
It's been, people use them as scapegoats all the time. Do your
Yeah.
own shit, you fucking lazy cunt.
Yeah, but my lawyer he told me, he was like, look, you're going to go to court. You're going to lose the first round because it's the human rights.
Not to mention his fee on
Yeah.
top of your loss.
So far I've given him $150,000. But I was really lucky that I don't have kids.
You've made $150,000? I thought you were a juggler up until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. But I didn't have, I don't have any money. But I was able to just book shows and try to hustle to fuck. And
Willie Nelson did Taco Bell commercials to pay off his tax debts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But so I was I was okay for the first about 90. And then I was like, I'm gonna go bankrupt. So I started a GoFundMe that helped, and just for laughs, did a benefit for me that they gave me like $20,000.
Did they make any public opinion on this? Because this is very effective to them too.
They came out like full on support. Yeah. And when they did that show, it was Bruce Hills that he came up with. He asked me, he was like, "Why hasn't anyone done a show for you?" And I was like, "I don't know." So he goes, "Okay, we're doing a show." And
that year,
yeah,
that's cool.
That almost that day, he told me let's say the festival was almost over, so he told me on a Friday, and then on Saturday we were doing the show.
I like that. Fuck me, fuck you.
And he actually added it was at Metropolis, and then he got all the sort of
that venue.
Dirty guys that were still in town. So he got Jim Norton, he got Jimmy
great.
Carr, Ralphie May, Brad Williams. It was, and some French people, because this affects comics everywhere. So it was a cool bilingual show, and it was fun for me being a sort of French Canadian comic, seeing my French Canadian friends on after Jim Norton. There's something.
Yeah, those paths never cross.
Yeah.
There'd be no, but it was nice to see the comedy community to come together for that.
I felt tons of support. I've been so lucky that people reached out, people I've never met.
I love to have picture Patrice O'Neill as your lawyer. Right?
Yeah.
That would be outstanding.
Whenever when I was going through the whole court thing, I'd listen to his on YouTube when the title is Patrice Schools Abroad Unfunny.
That's exactly what I was referring to when I made that lawyer comment.
I watched that shit like at least once a year since it came out, but during the court thing, I was watching that almost
not your job.
every day. Yeah.
It's not your job. You don't know comedy.
Yeah, and he was so good at defending what we do. That's where I find myself really bad at defending myself, because whenever I talk, I'm just I don't even listen to what the other people are saying, because it makes me angry now, since I fucking went through this weird thing. So when someone's telling me why comedians shouldn't say what they want to say, I just fucking block them out.
You can't. They may as well be speaking a completely different language. You understand, because they're not any. They're so married to this anchor, and it's a sinking ship. It does nothing for the better the humanity by smothering comedians. There has to be these elements to keep the iron hot in comedy.
I think, though, what those people don't understand is a rape joke and a joke about flowers they both come from the exact same place, and they're both written for the exact same reason. If you're doing a kidnapping joke, your goal isn't to fucking make people that have lost a kid to kidnapping cry. Your goal is to make people that like fucking dark humor laugh. But a lot of people don't get that. They'll see like either dirty comics or dark comics, and they just fucking think, okay, that's a bad person.
And I think the smarter people who were kind of making flippant, observations like that are taking a look at, like, the most prominent example would be Bill Cosby, who's, America's darling, people couldn't say enough good things about Cosby for 150 years, and he's the most deviant.
Yeah. And that's fucking evil. That wasn't just rape. That's fucking like sinister. Like fucking luring someone in your house, putting a fucking shit in their drink, and then fucking them.
That is very sick to go on and have that elitism that he must have had.
Yeah.
I actually went and saw him at Just for Laughs and walked out.
Oh, really?
I was overheard he was doing like a 2.5 hour show. And I've never seen anyone on a stage more than maybe an hour and 20 minutes. And it was a chance to go see Cosby. It was boring as hell.
Okay.
But obviously, I grew up on his records.
Yeah.
A lot's happened in the last 40, 50 years.
I opened for him in Quebec City years ago. And he, like, they had booked me since I was from Quebec City, and they knew that I did English comedy. But the Cosby people didn't, like, check my resume or anything. Like, they didn't know who I was. They booked me. Or the people organizing the thing booked me. And I actually told them, I was like, I can't open for Cosby. I'm way too dirty. It's not going to work. He's going to get offended. And they were like, no, we want you on. We want you on. I was like, this doesn't, no. And then they sent out a contract. We signed the contract. And it was a big gig. Like, I was getting $5,000 to open for Cosby. So I was like, okay. And then, like, the day after, they called. And
show?
Yeah, one show. And they were, and it was an outdoor show. There's a comedy festival in Quebec City. Outdoor show, like a 3,000-seater sort of, it almost...
Tented?
No, it's a thing near the old port. It almost feels like you're in ancient Rome, like the
columns and the
and
white
the seats
stone
are
Colosseum style.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, then when the Cosby people found out I was opening for him, I told my manager to write up like another resume and just put like things that I did, like take out the nasty show, and just write like he performed for our troops in Afghanistan. So I'd look like he performed at the Olympics, just stuff that makes it look like I'm a
bookended out a little bit. Yeah.
And then they found out who I was, and Cosby's manager or agent called my manager, and he was like, if Mike says fuck once on stage or says anything that Bill finds offensive, Bill is going to leave. And
the whole thing's done.
Yeah, and he still had to get paid. So he had the festival people put speakers in his dressing room so that he could listen
and screen everything
to be like the king who's like, okay, fuck, you're dead or you're good.
Now bring in somebody for me to rape.
Yeah, yeah, and that imagine like I'm like he's judging me, and I'm like I do one rape joke and he's fucking raping like 78 people, or I don't know what the number is.
I think the people that take these moral high grounds, I think I'm always suspect of the person that stands up at my show and says this is wrong.
Yeah,
because I see something in their eyes that's clearly made them uncomfortable. Maybe they've been a victim of some of the subject matter or victimized somebody through some of the horrific subject matter. Yeah, I can see an aggravation that starts to get in. Like, does he know? Can he read
shit!
my
How
mind?
can he tell I'm like that?
My deviant behavior, the vileness is so grotesque and graphic that even the sickest of sickos are starting to get a little traction with it. I got a whole thing I'm trying to out pedophiles through a systematic elimination during an Austin through hand holdings and find out all the kid fuckers are and burn those ones. Because it's usually, somebody that looks like they got their shit together. And they're John Wayne Gacy. Yeah. It's the kid's clown that murders the kids.
Yeah. There was a guy, this didn't get much traction in the news, but there was a guy from the Quebec Human Rights Commission. And the way they call it in French, they say Commission des droits de la personne et droits de la jeunesse. They added the protection of children in that too. And this guy worked for the human
So
rights
what,
people.
what was this? Is like their slogan?
Like that's their thing. Like
Okay.
it's a human rights commission and
Specifically
the protection of
children.
This guy was an investigator for them, and they found out he had raped a 5-year-old kid, and he went to court. He pleaded guilty, and then the judge just gave him unconditional absolution. So he doesn't even have a record.
Diplomatic immunity almost.
And then he got fired 2 months after that. Like the human rights people didn't even fire him
because
right away.
there's probably, pedophiles in the human rights. It's there's probably like a network of, secret handshakes of kid fuckers.
But
The shitty knuckle handshake or something. I don't know what it is, but you see these people getting, how many loopholes, like look at the Catholic Church and moving them from location to location. It's like, this is, you're destroying people's lives by these selfish decisions. When you're masquerading as a moral human person.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the church is the worst for that. They used to move people. I think it was it 50 miles away? Because in the old days they figured no one ever traveled for more than 50 miles. So, like all these people that got molested, like the church was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we'll get rid of the priest and he'll go molest someone new."
And they change, and then they bring a new guy in,
Yeah.
and before they know it, there's it's a circuit of fucking.
Yeah,
Children.
that's what was good about the whole prison system. I don't know if it's like that still here, but in Canada now, they kid fuckers, they don't put them with the general population.
Oh yeah, they get murdered.
Yeah,
As they should.
That was the good thing about because you got like real justice out of that. Because a guy that fucks a kid, he's not just fucking the kid. He's killing that kid.
He's destroying his soul.
There's part of that kid that's never going to be the same because of that. And you got those fucking people judging me for a joke, which I thought was weird.
know.
And like the people that stand up at your shows, like people that go see you, like everyone knows what you do. And if someone has never seen you, but they're gonna go see you, they're gonna Google you, they're gonna YouTube you. So if you know that you're easily offended,
Yes.
don't go see Jason Rouse. Don't go see. There are tons of G-rated comics that you can go see.
And just because I really want the people that come to have a good time, the ticket office, they're given warnings. There's warnings in the club. I think they're probably the average person that comes into my shows. I'm thinking of Vancouver specifically, or even Toronto now, but they've probably been given a half a dozen warnings. Why not to buy the tickets? Like I've had friends, they go, I had a hard time booking tickets. It's not sold out. She goes, no, the girl was really trying to talk us out of not buying tickets. He goes, no, I know what he does. I want to see it. Are you sure? That kind of thing. It's very...
But that makes it even more exciting for people that go see you.
Sure, they're doing something dirty. Well, all those old records, the Red Fox and stuff like these dirty old comedy records, I like to be that in that context of something that the night people do to do weird shit.
Yeah.
They want to see something a little outside the box. They're bored all day, and they want to see and hear things that they could never do in the workplace. Absurd.
There used to be a thing though. Like I first, when I was little, I really liked metal just because all my aunts and uncles thought
Voivod.
that it was Voivod.
Fucking Voivod. I love Voivod.
I sang. I used to do the show Music Plus, which is like the French MTV.
Oh, that's where I think I recognized you immediately from that.
And I sang a song with Voivod, and I was like,
Did you?
Yeah, that was like
That's very cool.
I didn't even. Well, it wasn't an actual song, but I sang a part of a song, and I was like, oh, this is the best.
That's very cool. They're massively respected in the metal community, and I had shared a drink with was it Snake?
The drummer?
And
Snake is the singer? Or
yes.
Yeah.
And Wind, he does all the graphics, all those famous Voivod art covers and stuff. I think he did. Anyway.
He did one of Dave Grohl's
I was going to bring that up, but I thought it was too absurd for you to know Probot.
Yeah.
He did the Probot with all Dave's favorite, everything from King Diamond and Motorhead and everything in between. But yet, Voivod was the second concert I ever went to.
Oh, really?
The first show was Metallica in Hamilton in '88 with Queensryche. And then I was like, this is amazing. You know, I saw Metallica. What's next? And a friend said, Soundgarden, Faith No More, and Voivod. And I was a huge Voivod fan. I knew a little bit about Faith No More. In Soundgarden, that first Louder Than Love album, I didn't like the vocal part of it. But
Okay.
I think by the second album, they had a proper blueprint of what their history of their career was going to be. Coincidentally, Chris Cornell is buried 5 minutes from here.
Oh, really?
We can go and look at his grave if you like.
When I have Voivod on, they told me this was the first time they were ever on like a TV
Major,
talk show.
yeah.
And like I was like, that's fucking crazy because like they're you know they live in Montreal. They're from like northern Quebec.
Not the best looking
but-
guys either.
No,
They're not
no.
a glamorous rock band. That's the thing, they're unfuckable. They're pure metal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're real metal.
They had told me the way that Snake, the singer, got his job, that band existed.
He's huge, by the way. I didn't know he was that big.
Yeah, he's a big, like,
He's a huge
super
dude.
tall, super wide.
Hey, how are you? Ah.
But they told me they went to see a improv show, and he was doing improv, and he was like, they liked
They
how
brought
he
him
was,
up.
and they were like,
Oh.
we like how you improvise. Can you sing? And he was like, I don't know. Okay, I can try. And then he really liked punk.
Yeah.
So and the way he sang, they were like, oh shit, we weren't going in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's you want in. And I was like, that's crazy that he got his job because he was good at improv.
Even stranger, there was a metal magazine in a Toronto-based metal magazine. I think it went across the country. It was called Meat Magazine. And Sebastian Bach was plucked from an ad in that magazine to front a band, regardless of whether or not he could sing, on his entire look.
Just the look.
So
Oh,
Snake
fuck.
clearly had some physicality and a presence.
Yeah.
And we'll teach him how to sing. But right now, we've got a front man.
Yeah.
This guy, he's, you know, they probably work with enough people that know that there has to be a fucking engine pushing this thing, and the lead singer is very important.
Especially like when Voivod was coming up, those were the years like where look was like guys like Motley Crue, like everyone.
Oh, yeah.
everyone looked like a fucking like a rock star with and then you had these fucking guys, singer a little chubby,
Slouch,
sweatpants.
Bonjour. You know, yeah, I love the again, that like they probably relatively unknown in North America, but I've been on music festivals in Europe, and people love that band.
Yeah. They told me that's all they do now is festivals in Europe. And sometimes some like big, like some old metal band, I'll like think, oh fuck, okay, Voivod still exists. They put them on, but
Yeah.
they don't really work.
They're tired,
back
man.
home anymore.
They're tired.
Yeah.
Those guys were in a metal band in the 80s, in extreme end of music. You know what I mean? They were going on the road in Europe in the probably, you know, late 80s, early 90s, and partied. How much beer do you think Voivod has drank? Right? And we're laughing because you know that those guys were it wasn't a hobby. They were in it. They were all over it. You know, there was no silk scarves or a lipstick phase in Voivod. You know, it was very consistent.
Almost like all those guys, I think none of them drink anymore.
I'm sure.
Because I like, or maybe I think one of their guitarists, but he's like only been in the band for a couple years, so he didn't go through
Piggy
like
died.
Yeah,
He had some sort of hormone issue or something. He had a lot of complications and a lot of medication. I love his guitar playing. He's like this short little. Yeah. Great. Did you go see many shows? But you don't have a wife and kids.
I have a wife. I
You have
don't
a
have
wife,
kids.
no
so-
children.
No kids.
And what was the last concert you went to?
Last concert I went to, I think, was Twisted Sister.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you seen the doc on Netflix?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It's arguably probably my top 3 rock documentaries ever.
Oh, really?
I was blown away.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, I did see that.
Did you?
Yeah.
About them kind of coming up? What a story.
Yeah.
I love that kind of, you know, like you were saying, watching those old Patrice interviews and stuff, and seeing a fuck you, we're gonna make this work, and we don't care what anyone says type thing.
Yeah.
Twisted Sister.
I was surprised at how fucking like Dee Snider is in amazing shape. Like I was supposed to open for him at that show, and then he didn't want me to open for him because I used to do this TV show in French where me and my friend were like, it was for.
Have you met Mitsu?
I have. She got really angry at me because of a joke. I'm like when Twitter was first starting out. She came out with this fucking video, and I just made a joke about it.
She's our Rose McGowan.
Yeah. And she DM'd me, and she was like, remove your tweet immediately. And I was like, what? And she goes, take it down before the media sees it, and they run with it, and this becomes a story. And then I just wrote back. I was like, Mitsu, this isn't fucking 1992. No one gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Someone got in your ear that's clearly getting a check from her and says, listen, you need to deal with this. You're still relevant and popular. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? It's like getting angry at bathroom graffiti. Yeah. It's like, who wrote fuck yourself and their own shit on the wall? Yeah. I'll get to the bottom of this.
I had, though, like, they asked me, they roasted her on TV, like, after that, and they had called me, and they were like, do you want to come roast her? And I was like, fuck, if she can't even handle a tweet, like, the roast, she's going to cry.
Yeah. It'll be me against you type of situation.
And apparently, like, this is a roast, but it's on TV and on the French CBC, so it's super clean. And they had to, like, stop the taping and tell her, like, look, these are jokes. People are making these jokes because they love you. Fucking... Like,
that coddling, like, the girl's she's probably had some real problems in her life. I don't understand this. Do you know an Australian comedian by the name of Steve Hughes?
Yeah, I've never met him, but I love his bit.
He's awesome. I hope he's okay. I miss my buddy Steve. He got me drinking again after. No, he didn't get me drinking. I had a drink after 6 years of not.
Okay.
With Steve Hughes in Manchester, red wine. Listen to old heavy metal records on vinyl.
Okay.
He's an anomaly, but as far as that Sticks and Stones.
He used to be a singer, right?
He was a drummer.
Oh, drummer.
He was a drummer in a band, a death metal band in Australia. I want to say Cryptic Slaughter, but it's not. Slaughter Lord.
Okay.
So he was in, and he's very good. He's got some videos of him drumming and stuff, and he played in a bunch of bands, and I think he played in a Irish black metal band called Primordial for a minute when he was living in Dublin. But he's super talented. You forget because he's such a dude. Long hair, like fucking. Yeah. But he's also a killer comedian, and I think he's a very sensitive, caring person. And he loves comedy so much that sometimes people don't take his advice, or these observations that he's made, and it can hurt your feelings when you've clarified an issue through comedy, and everyone's very dismissive of it.
Does he ever come to America? Or?
I don't think he ever would come to the States.
Oh, really?
I don't think he'd ever come. He was living in London for some time, and I went back to Australia some years ago, I think after I'd moved from London. And but I think he doesn't do comedy. He does comedy for himself. He's in a different, we'll call it, what do you call it when you orbit? He has his own orbit.
Okay.
He doesn't, the business doesn't really influence him. He kind of influences it. And I haven't seen him sometimes, but he's always brilliant. Fun to watch. I always enjoyed, with him. Talking about he's dead or something. I haven't seen the guy. Just music and comedy, though, there's a lot of crossovers.
Yeah.
I try and draw those lines a lot. I enjoy the spectacle of a rock show, and if you can kind of sow some good humor into that, it's a fun way. Because especially, I find Montreal is a little more forgiving and open-minded in the idea of like live entertainment. It has that European aspect of it where you can see a lot of different varieties of performers, and where you wouldn't really get away with that in other parts of the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I think people just party harder in Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
How many blackout nights have you had in Montreal?
I've had a bunch. Yeah, I've had a bunch.
Well, what was the first year? You know, obviously you're on the radar very quickly of the Just for Laughs festival.
Yeah,
you're a local
since
guy,
I'm there, yeah.
French speaking, doing comedy. You know,
Yeah.
building your career. Where are places that you are practicing? They do French nights at most clubs.
Yeah,
Or
there's. I started a club with a bunch of friends, so my French stuff is all there. It's called Le Bordel,
Mm-hmm.
and we call it Le Bordel, which is French for bordello, because it's in
whorehouse.
It's in a old whorehouse, and
Oh,
it
really?
was like Montreal's biggest whorehouse, and it's the only building on Ontario Street that they took the address off. Because when they closed
They were
down the
shamed.
bordello, like people for years later would knock and go like, "Can we still fuck a whore?" And they were like, "It's a fucking house now.
Yeah,
Leave
we
my
got a
house."
family of 4. What year did they pull out the whores?
They pulled out the
50s?
whores in the 60s or like 60s or almost 70s.
Okay.
Because I met a guy.
I love to see photos of the hookers in the
Yeah.
50s.
I met a guy that yeah, that must have been
Not
fucking
big
weird.
teeth brushers.
But yeah, I met a guy who went to school like the other side of the street from the bordel, and he was like, I remember when I was little seeing hookers, and he's like he's not a super old man, so yeah, probably
In his
closed
early-
down
Yeah.
60s or
That's sad, but I think probably the commercialization of the strip clubs, they really refined. Like Montreal, as soon as you go in the door, there's a lot of hospitality, the atmosphere, everyone's smiling. It's a party atmosphere, and I think the hookers were probably, people were getting fucked,
yeah.
and a girl swinging around a brass pole when you go down to old Montreal and put your cock into some pirate war pig.
I brought Dave Chappelle to a strip club in Montreal.
Of course you did.
When he was down, and because he was on stage talking about, there was a rub and tug next to the
Venue?
the venue.
Yeah.
And then after the show, I just told him, because he kept on calling them strippers.
awesome.
And I was like,
That's awesome.
That isn't a strip club. That's a whorehouse. And I go, if you want a strip club, I can give you
You leaned
names.
in. Bonjour. Hello.
And then he told his DJ, his security guys, but he calls them DJs. He told his 2 big DJs, he's like, this guy's bringing us to a strip club. So, but
You
this,
had a 30 deep following you?
Yeah,
They're like,
like-
follow the French
Yeah,
kid.
it
He
was-
knows where the pussy is.
it was me and a bunch of black dudes, and
That's
but
awesome.
It's like it was 2:30 in the morning, and I
You
was
look
like
you look like their agent.
I was like telling him, I was like, look, the bar closes in 30 minutes. I don't know if they're going to let us in. And he was like, no, I got this. So he goes up first, but it's
Was it a black bouncer?
a black bouncer, but a white French black bouncer.
Okay, Haitian dude.
So the black guy looks at Chappelle and goes, "Excusez, on est fermé, we're closed," because he doesn't recognize him. And then Chappelle's like, "What the fuck?" But then the black guy sees me and he goes, "Fuck,
Oh,
Mike
no.
Ward, Mike Ward."
No,
Help,
that's
help."
awesome.
So then we got in.
I got this.
And the owner, they stayed open till 4.
That's amazing.
And I kept on getting strippers that wanted to take pictures with me, and then Chappelle would be like in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was at the bar having a drink while
Trying to-
these fucking French strippers were taking selfies.
That's
with
show
me.
business.
Yeah.
That's show business. Like you'll find yourself in these kind of polar opposite situations. On paper, you would feel like you'd had the key to the city with Chappelle.
Yeah.
You recognize, and the fact that this black French dude does not recognize Chappelle probably during the festival, I would
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah.
Like. And then you get the nod from them. Hey, I love that flip on everything.
I think though Chappelle, he seemed to really like that, because like right now he's at a level that everywhere he goes,
doesn't want the attention
in the English speaking world. Like everyone looks at him constantly, and everyone wants to talk to him.
Yeah.
So just being like just a guy having a drink.
To quote Chris Rock, sometimes you got to play the tambourine in the background.
Yeah.
and that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
And he probably enjoys being in the behind the curtain sometimes and just being a human being, opposed to that, because you've been in the business a while, and when you're around mega stars, legit, superstars in comedy, and the energy that kind of circulates around them can be a little unnerving for me. It's very stressful sometimes when you're around it, and you see this kind of weird communication start to kind of happen. It's kind of fucked up. But you're here in LA?
Yeah, just came in for a couple of days. I'm doing a show up in Edmonton. So I just, came by on my way to
It's close.
Edmonton. Yeah.
It's close. And I did the LA thing when I saw you at the Comedy Store. I walked past you 3 times, make eye contact, went in the hallway, scratched my head, and I'm like, is this my homeboy from Canada? Or am I going to go up and go, hey, are you Mike Ward? And he's going to go, nah, I'm fucking from Chicago. And then there's a negative, well, fuck you too, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There it is. You brought the sorries out of me.
Sorry.
And then you're here hanging out. You're gonna have a podcast tomorrow, and but we're gonna have some fun tonight. Are you coming out tonight?
Yeah.
Do you have no gigs tonight?
No, I didn't book anything. Like I just came out just to hang out.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel. I didn't
Well,
feel.
I
like,
live here and I don't have gigs tonight.
Okay.
So there's no shame in that. It's like every weekend is a work day, but it's not on stage.
Yeah.
If I think we were talking about this a little bit. 90% of this is being around in networking. And building
definitely,
those
yeah.
relationships.
I have a friend. I really like. I've always known that, but I have a friend that moved to New York, and the first 5 years he was doing comedy, he'd do his set and then just leave. And he was like, I gotta be good on stage. But then, like, if you don't stay after, no one knows that you're good on stage. Like, because comics will kind of watch other comics, but no one's like,
that guy's got a drug problem.
A new guy, I wanna listen to him to see if he's good. No one does that. You gotta just be.
This place, very much so. Like the Comedy Store and the Improv and the Laugh Factory is kind of like the staple clubs, but. There's rooms, and then the audience leaves. They're all comedians. I was on. Now I'm leaving. They're not interested. It's a very involved type of situation.
Because
so
it's.
I like watching good comedy, and I like watching bad comedy.
Yeah. Bad comedy is actually when you're live. Like yesterday, I never smoked, but I smoked with a friend and went to see a really bad comedy show.
That's when you smoke.
It was the best. And the whole time, like, we were just like sometimes words would make us laugh, and we'd like giggle for too long. And I was the only white guy in the room, so it was a black room. So I was like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't laugh so much because it almost makes it look like I'm super racist.
Yeah. You don't want to be ostracized in that group, but you can, as a comedian and somebody who's giggling through it, you're seeing how the scaffolding's all falling.
Yeah.
This guy's fumbling over his own shoes, and there's some humor in that.
Yeah.
And the feat, because we've all been through that process of trying to feel around in the dark and find something that kind of works.
Yeah. Those rooms, like, there's something that, like, a really bad room like that, like, I like really bad rooms that look like bad rooms but are actually good rooms. But those horrible shows are good for if you're like a brand new comic, first or second or third year in, whatever, just to get used to performing in front of people that don't give a fuck about you.
Oh, yeah. Where to hold the mic stand. Like, there's a lot of simple things that go in one ear, out the other as soon as you stand on stage.
There's something that's, like, when you're, like, I stopped doing those because, like, now I'm like, well, why am I here? Like, this doesn't make sense. I did there's a place in Montreal called Grumpy's, and I went. And they like, when I get there, they're like, hey man, thanks for doing the open mic. I do the open mic, and it's just a bad room. So I'm always like trying to get people to listen. I do my thing, and I tell the guy, I was like, this is the worst place. And he goes, Mike Wilmot said this is the worst open mic in Canada. And I was like, you shouldn't be bragging about that. Like when Mike Wilmot said that, he wasn't saying like, hey man, good job, you guys are the worst. Like,
No, get your shit together. That's not a prize you want to
yeah,
have.
I was like, don't brag about that and try to fucking fix it.
I remember going to a show here and they had left it. Oh, we like to leave the TV. I go, why do you turn off those flashing lights? Oh, we like the comics to kind of struggle through the light changes and stuff. It's like, this is a difficult situation as it is. And now you want to add hurdles to something I really don't even know what's happening. There's, you know this business attracts the insane.
Yeah. Well, why would you want to make the performer's job harder?
Because I think that person was a failure as an
Yeah.
artist. So it allowed them to have an excuse why they're bad and everyone's equally as bad. It was like making somebody walk down a hallway with dog shit in it, and that's the only hallway. And then going, see, we all got dog shit on our shoes. It's a fucking weird.
Yeah.
I've had to do a lot of, I don't know what you call it, psychology, the human condition. And being here, I find myself being a little more introverted to observe. I don't speak as freely as I would do in like Canada and other places.
Okay.
Because of your people aren't coming at you in a normal way. So they've already have their ideas and their point they're trying to get across. There's no conversation of dialogue, very little eye contact. Nobody's very present during the conversations. So you usually let them throw up in front of you and then go on with your day kind of thing.
It's got the, I think you were saying this before we started recording, but it's got a sort of a festival feel to it. Like when you go to Just for Laughs, the Delta, or
Edinburgh.
Yeah.
The city is like the Edinburgh Festival with 99% less talent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
with no screening, no security. Yeah. It's different. I'm really. Oh, by the way, I'll be in Vancouver, Yuck Yucks, the first week of April. I just booked a gig. It looks like I'm going to be in Yellowknife.
Oh, really? Have you ever played Yellowknife?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I've been in the Northwest Territories. Is that what it is?
Yellowknife, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that you? No, it's a
I
Northwest
should know this.
Territories.
I've completely ignored that part of our country, but I know it's quite beautiful up there. There'll be no shows in Edmonton ever again. They found a little marijuana on my desk. Crumbs, and been banned from the casino.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
that's funny that like gambling is way worse than weed.
Dude, there was a guy who died of an oxycodone overdose in the hotel room next to my buddy's. They had to pound on his door. They had to go through the secondary door in the rooms, the adjoining doors, and buddy's pilled out dead in his chair. Like, that city has a major drug problem, but marijuana and pharmaceutical orbituate. Is that how you say it?
Is it barbiturates?
Barbiturates, yeah. I said barbiturate. Yeah, that's something else. I think that's some Dungeons and Dragons shit. Anyway, I was really kind of looking for an excuse not to go back there. I have friends there still, but I remember the shows. Anyway.
I've never been. Like next week's going to be my first time in Edmonton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, my brother lives in Calgary, so I'm in Calgary like at least once a year, but never Edmonton.
Calgary's great.
Yeah, I think Edmonton, in my mind, is going to be like it's the Western Winnipeg.
Yes, and it has a Hamilton elements to it too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up, but what else do I have? What are you doing? We're gonna hang out, and then I've got shows somewhere. I'll be at the Laugh Factory some point next week, I think. And where can people get a hold of you?
Right now. I'm mostly Montreal. So if people want to see, I have a.
Is there any way people can donate money to you? Part of your political?
Not anymore. But
No.
I want to. I'm gonna do this soon. I was gonna wait till my trial was over.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a comic in London that got sued by her husband. her
yes.
ex-husband, and I want to start a fund for her, or for like
A legal-
the next comic that this is going to happen to. Because I've been like super lucky that I was at a place in my life, in my career, where I was making money, so I could pay like.
That's why you got fucked.
Yeah.
They looked at you, your body of work, and go, we can take him for this.
Yeah.
He's going to have to struggle for it, but we're going to clean this fucker out.
But
and it's fucking gross.
I think,
and they
though,
should be ashamed of themselves.
I think in Canada, though, they're going after, like even if I didn't have money, they would have come after me, but they would have said like, you owe 10,000 instead of 80.
Then why haven't they come after me?
Yeah,
I got to be more
you're lucky.
specific.
Yeah. I think
I fuck shit up.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I really fuck shit up. I've got all the baggage, emotional baggage from being in a kind of weird purgatory in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And then I take that there, and when people start to do the shit that they've kind of done to you, it infuriates me, and then it becomes malicious.
Yeah, I think the only reason why they haven't come at you is since you're not based in Canada anymore. Like,
well, I want to move back just for this
Just for
reason,
that.
just to take a fucking flamethrower. That's what I mean. I could do a year in jail. I'll do a year. I got friends in low places. I would not have really that much of a problem in a Canadian jail.
Canadian jails are probably.
And I could
pretty
probably
good.
do some fucking great gigs and
Yeah.
come out of it with an Edinburgh show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A year in prison,
year in prison.
and I still have my hymen intact. Right? Me in what's the worst prison in Montreal?
I don't know.
Ottawa?
Yeah. Yeah, there isn't a bad prison in Montreal. There's Bordeaux, but I think
There
that's,
isn't really a good prison anywhere, but
Yeah.
yeah. There's usually every major city has some sort of apocalyptic
Yeah.
cage.
Generally, the ones in Quebec, they always send them way up north. That's where that Magnata
Kingston's.
guy is. The guy that cut up his boyfriend or his date and then mailed. He fucked the body parts and then mailed the rest of them to members of Congress.
Recently?
Like 2 years ago. You didn't hear about that?
This is not the guy out of Toronto that cut up the torsos and put them in the
yeah.
planners? Same
Yeah.
guy? Yeah.
Or no, he didn't put them in planners. He mailed them to people like members of Congress and to the then Prime Minister.
So they do DNA swabs on the tissue
Yeah.
and find out the identity of these missing people.
So you'd get like Stephen Harper's secretary or whatever got a package, opened it up, and it was some dude's arm. And that guy, when he cut, he cut the guy up, and he fucked the
pieces?
ass and the pieces. And my I have a friend that like he was fucking obsessed with that video, and he was watching that.
What, there's a
over and
video
over.
of it?
Yeah, because he filmed it live. Like he streamed it live.
He streamed the murders live?
Yeah.
In Canada?
Yeah.
Why am
And-
I hearing about this now?
I don't know. Like Norm Macdonald has he talked about this on his podcast like about 1 million times, and it's the funniest thing. He always stretches out the whole thing, how he fucking brought a guy home, cut him up, and then raped his dead body, and then the punchline is he was a bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
Whenever I think of Magnata now, who's that killer? I think
Norm
of Norm
Macdonald.
Macdonald.
See, lemons in the lemonade.
Yeah, exactly. One Asian man had to
Well,
die
that-
for me to laugh at a Norm Macdonald bit.
That is the essence of, because the kid that is involved in your situation, it was so, they don't know him. They
Yeah.
don't know, but they've pedestaled him into this kind of beacon of hope. And Norm has done the same thing to a serial killer. And you can't, those things are interchanged. They don't have I'm babbling again. I'm so furious now. But I think that is a great idea with the legal situation, some sort of fund.
The thing that I'd want, like I want to do, like now because of this woman, I don't know if I'm going to do it sooner, but what I want to do is right now, we lost the first part. We went to court, lost the first part. But we weren't in a real court. I was in, like, it was a human rights commission and I was in court in front of the Human Rights Tribunal. So it's the same. The person that's saying I'm guilty is also the person judging me. So I had no chance of winning. So now the appeal is in front of a three.
How is that part of a legal process where you're just showing up to be shamed and exploited?
I don't know. And like, but
I don't want to have to get political. I really kind of functioned in the underside of society and never very been specific. But I find this, I don't know if it's old age or what, but I'm becoming more sensitivity, especially to this comedians. You know, it really bothers me. That kid in Vancouver, I'm sure he was an inexperienced knucklehead in the wrong place at the wrong time. But you're clearly a seasoned professional. And the few times I've been around you, you've been nothing but a pleasant and friendly guy.
I used to say, like, I'm a good person that does mean jokes, or a mean person that does good jokes. But, you know,
I subscribe to that.
My jokes are, like, I think the fact, and like you
it's a purge. So you don't have to be a cunt in your regular life. You get
like
to,
all the cunty things come out on stage.
Yeah. That's why you're a relaxed, well-balanced person, because you have an outlet. That's what I mean. I go, if you don't laugh at this shit, I'm going to get a job.
Yeah.
And it might be a school shooter.
There's something, though, I've noticed, like, every time I've met, like, a sort of
Dave Attell,
dirty or
one
dark
of the
comics.
sweetest guys in show business.
Everyone's super nice. Like
Stanhope,
the only
Peach.
the only cunty comics I've met are like mainstream comics, and some of them, like, I'm not saying that mainstream comics are all cunts, but some of them are super nice. But I've never met someone that was dirty or dark on stage that treated me like shit.
Yeah. That's a weird thing. I wonder what the science or psychology is behind that, because that should be recognized. That the dirtier the comedian, the more moral fiber he has. You know what I mean? There should be an award for, if you can make people laugh at the most vile, disgusting things, you should get the key to the city.
I think, though, that might be, when you're starting out, since like especially a guy like you, since you're dark on stage, you almost have to be nice, or almost nicer to the people, so that they'll book you. Because at first, like, when you were, like, now people know what you do, and you have sort of
you have to reintroduce yourself.
But like at first, when you had like 12 minutes of material, people must have been like, what the fuck's wrong with that guy?
Yeah, totally. It was luckily Mark Breslin was always a huge advocate for freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And I really put that to the test. The only phone call, negative thing that I had, Mark called me and says, you can't touch people naked. That was it. He goes, we can't, and everything else.
You can't touch
that
people
was the
naked.
only phone call I had from him about, that was the only criticism he had, and that was his livelihood. But they had, handwritten letters, 3-page letters from people with a situation. I remember the booking agent says, we got a 3-page handwritten letter about a lady who said that you made fun of her disabled brother. And it wasn't, that wasn't the case at all. I identified him and made him a fucking hero for the night. And she was ashamed to have attention brought to her while she was with her brother in the state that he was in. But he definitely didn't write that letter because his hands were all fucked up.
Generally, though, people that, like, I know whenever I've done jokes about disabled people on stage, it's always the people around them that get offended. Never the guy in the wheelchair, or rarely. It happened once, but it was a guy that he had, like, it was super new, like he had just been in an accident, so he hadn't accepted the fact he wasn't going to walk anymore. And then I was like, I'll put this guy in my act, like, just talk to him and it'll help. Because I noticed whenever there were disabled people, I had a bit about my friend that's in a wheelchair. It always worked a million times better. But this guy fucking got angry. And this was in London.
Shitty people are in wheelchairs.
Yeah. But this guy was in London. He was a black dude. And a woman, for some reason, thought that I was
White chick?
Yeah, and
Of course,
she thought
they're the worst
Yeah.
enemies of comedy is white chicks.
She thought I was making fun of him because I was racist, but I was scared to like make fun of him being black, so I was making fun of him being in a wheelchair. And she started yelling that I was racist, and it sort of turned into like
An argument that wasn't even in context.
But I was like trying to just like, what the? It's not a race. It's not like he wasn't born in a fucking wheelchair. And then it like a riot almost started. Half the
she
people
wanted
left.
attention for herself. That selfish cunt vacuumed out. She knew that race was going to be a very trigger thing that she could get some traction on, and pulled you into the deep end of her bullshit and ruined the fucking night.
Yeah.
Because she's a fucking racist.
It was weird though, because half the people left, but the people that stayed fucking loved it, because it was almost like it became a circus. Like they weren't even there for the comedy anymore. They were there for the
spectacle.
What the fuck is happening right now? Is that guy gonna get like? Are they gonna rush the stage? Are they gonna attack him? Is he gonna run away? Is he?
And you get those world star hip hop moments where when people see things escalate that are politically or racially charged, the phones come out, and they think they're gonna get that next thing that's gonna make them relevant.
Did you see? You saw that guy, the black guy that gets attacked by a dude that's swinging
on the stage?
A mic stand?
Yeah. That was a fucking.
God
those
damn.
guys were in good shape.
Yeah.
That guy, he must have just he ripped his shirt off and come back in, but he knew he'd been in multiple fights.
Yeah. Because I was looking at that and I was like, okay, someone rushes the stage and I can't fight, so he'll hit me and I'll fucking try to push him away and I'll try to hit him back.
Someone's gonna get tired.
But yeah, but like when I saw the guy swinging with the mic stand, I was like, holy fuck, I would have died. Like I'm not quick enough. I would have just got
metal
hit
bar
in the head.
across the side of the head.
Yeah,
and that guy didn't look like he'd be the kind of guy that would stop kicking you either.
Yeah,
yeah, that was pretty electric. I met this guy. I was in Vegas doing Sam Tripoli had a little residency at the Hard Rock doing the naughty shows there. And there's this guy in the green room, and I'm looking at him, like, he introduces himself, friendly enough dude. And then talking to me, do I know you? He goes, kind of on this video. There was the open micer in Vegas that got kicked in the chest. Have you seen that one?
No.
Oh, this is maybe about a year ago. There's the local, every city has a fucking clown that kind of shows up around comedy shows, who's been on open mics for 30 years and is annoying and completely disrespectful to everybody involved. Well, this guy kept approaching the stage while this guy was on, and he warned him, do not touch me, don't come to the stage. The third time the guy comes up, after talking to him, found out he had some martial arts training, fucking kicked this guy in the chest so hard. There's all the Spartacus videos. They're slow-mo'd it and stuff. And I asked him a little bit about that, but I'm going to bring a knife on stage. I think I'm just going to leave it on the stool and just kind of go, who wants to have fun? Couple OJ gloves and what have you. But you have a show coming up in Edmonton?
Yeah, a show in Edmonton for there's a TV network in Canada called Uni. It's a French. It's a French show in Edmonton in a theater show. I don't know what the crowd's going to be like.
Sure.
But yeah.
Do you have a guy that you because it's a very niche thing that you're doing? Do you have a guy that you have your guy that you have open for you?
Yeah.
You got a guy. Same dude.
Yeah, same dude. We started doing comedy 20 some years ago.
Like Carlin, I think, had the same guy for 30 years or something like that.
Yeah, and he's since I'm kind of dirty, he's
Bridge.
Yeah, he's weird, and I don't like saying weird, but he's absurd what he does. And,
quirky.
Yeah,
David Acker-esque.
So yeah, a little. It's weird. You almost feel like he's retarded.
I wouldn't say David Acker's retarded, but okay, I'll pull that back.
No, not David Acker-esque, but he's whenever you look at him, you're like, why is this grown man doing that? Like, he dances with a cat. Like, it's just fucking...
Yeah.
It feels like you're on magic mushrooms whenever you see him.
I love it.
And when I describe him, it doesn't sound good, but it's fucking insanely funny. It's you giggle as if you were super stoned. And so I have him, and and then when I come on, it almost takes away the harshness of my joke. So you almost feel like I'm almost like a cartoon character by now. Like,
Yeah, and I think, I do a similar thing too, where you have to just palate that, like set it up that they're watching comedy. Like it's a very familiar thing for you to be in front of an audience and a stage, but sitting in a chair and having somebody talk at you is a little foreign to some people.
Yeah.
So an opening act that's some sort of transition into completely opposite is usually what I go for. I look, girls that are funny.
yeah,
Clean or dirty. I'll have a female funny comedian go in before, because I know that there's 70 guys there, 70% of the guys there, and most of those girls have been dragged,
yeah,
and they're like, what the fuck is this? This is our night out? This guy's an animal. So if there's something there to at least alleviate some of the cock and ball stress in the room, I like to have that. So I think that's key.
yeah. I did that. I was in Ottawa last week, and both of my openers were women, and it really
We love women.
Yeah, I really, there was something cool about that. And then, like, when you go on, like, you got a totally different fucking point of view and a different way of seeing the world. And plus, like, with people that, if you do a joke, I'm not misogynistic in my humor, but, if I do a joke that someone could see as being misogynistic, if you had like two women open for you, they're like, okay, he must be okay. Yeah.
Friendly.
Yeah.
It's a friendly fire thing.
Yeah.
And it's weird that there's a lot of thought that goes into setting the psychology up so that you have a decent playing field.
Yeah.
There's a lot involved in, because I'm like the worst host in comedy.
Oh, really?
I love hosting like open mic nights and things like that, but to host a professional show on a weekend and them not know who I am and I'm their ambassador, it is a disaster. Because my instinctual thing is the imp of the perverse, as my friend calls it. I'm like, who wants to see a dead cat? And everyone's like, it's my grandmother's birthday. We don't want to see any dead cats. We thought there was going to be a juggler or something. Shows, Edmonton. I'm going to plug some shows. Do you have anything that you want to plug?
I'm doing. I did recorded an album called "Pedophile Jokes and Death Threats," so people can listen to that for free on Bandcamp.
Do you have stuff for sale on iTunes or any other DVD?
Like I do, but just like it's better just to listen to the free Bandcamp thing, because the rest is everything that I have for sale is French. So
yeah.
So just if you know French, buy it or download it. I don't really care, since it's been out for so long.
Yeah, I see. That's the right thing to do. That was an old skin.
Yeah.
You're not really interested in pushing something that you've done ages ago.
Yeah, there's something weird about hey, buy this that I recorded in 1991.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that will they just want to get themselves out there so much they'll exploit it. It's something that was great some time ago. They hold on to that part of their career, and they kind of coddle it around, and nothing gets done.
There's nothing sadder than when a comic does that, when they bring them up and they're like, you might know this next guy, and they like plug something from like 1998.
Yeah, it's like those Charlie Chaplin posters in the comedy clubs.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
Why are you?
Shows, you have like an Instagram and Twitter and all that
everything
stuff?
is Mike Ward CA. Twitter,
Awesome.
Facebook, Instagram, and my website, mikeward.ca.
Wicked. I'm at the Dime here in Los Angeles. Actually, you're not here on the 12th, are you?
No, I go back tomorrow or 2 days.
This is one of the better rooms outside of the clubs.
Okay.
It's pretty decent. So the Dime on March 12th, and then I will start my tour, I guess, for the year on April 6th, Vancouver. That weekend in Calgary, Halifax, St. John.
What date are you in Calgary?
I'm in Calgary, April 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Okay, I'll get my brother to go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know Pete Zedlacker?
Yeah.
He's just moved there, I think, maybe about a year ago or less.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's in Calgary now, which we're at a shop. But I can see, touring Ontario clubs is not a career move. So doing corporates in Alberta for oil
Okay.
tycoons, I guess, would be more viable.
And when are you going back to Europe?
Europe will probably be, there's some unannounced dates, but I might be doing a rock festival with Guns N' Roses
shit.
in England, the Download Festival in June. So I'm looking to schedule a bunch of rock festival gigs in June, and then something I can't really talk about too much, but December in Denmark, something special.
Okay.
And we'll leave it at that. Thanks for listening, everybody. I know I mumble and Mr. Ward here, you were a great guest.
Oh, thanks.
In my lowly ADD, stroked out conversation, you managed to keep it moving along. And if people reach out, check out our stuff, Oot and About. And I've been Jason Rouse, and we're going to go look at Chris Cornell. Thank you.
Perfect.
I don't care what society thinks of